for the final time tonight, I am joined by Katie K. She missed me by 4 minutes. 4 minutes, but you know what? I'm back, and so is she. So yeah, it's all good. Katie, how are you feeling after yesterday's win?
Well, first I want to say thank you for waiting for me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. How am I feeling after yesterday? I have mixed feelings. I'm really happy that we came out with a win, of course. Securing our spot in the top four is of utmost importance. With Chelsea at our heels, we need every win we can get right now. So there are still things that, I want to improve on. I still think that, Moyes can substitute a little bit earlier, as I always say. I think it was unfortunate with Ben Rama. I think that he was just really off yesterday. But we'll get into all that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will do. We will do. Right. Obviously, was you happy with the team selection?
Yeah, I was surprised to see Noble out there, but I think that it was fine for what we have available right now. I don't think that there's anything more that we could have done differently. Did you think I should have been out there?
I think the team selection was right, considering we just played Wolves on the Monday and we played all right, really. And I don't think, obviously, if Antonio's fit, he plays. So I think it's just a straightforward Antonio out, Bowen in. But yeah, obviously, the first half we started off slow, I believe. Like, I don't know about you, we was very pedestrian and always second to the ball, and yeah, it wasn't really good. It wasn't really good first 20 minutes, and then Jesse Lingard, Katie K, steps up again. What was your thoughts on the first goal?
So I was thrilled because this was the cross from Sufal. Sufal fed him the ball, and I loved it. I thought his strike was just perfect. He put it exactly where it needed to be. There's no stopping that goal, and he was right outside the box, I believe. So, that really made me happy. And at that moment, it's like, we can't let this guy go. There's no way.
Yeah, it was a top class finish, I must admit. I will say that you could. It was instinctive. It wasn't hit hard. It was just placement, and yeah, we go 1-0 up, really, and we didn't really do a lot before we went 1-0 up. And then we come to the second goal. Issa Diop puts a lovely ball over the top. Jared Bowen beats the offside trap, pass it to Lingard, 2-0. What was your thoughts on that?
That was beautiful. I mean, there was nothing more. I was shocked that Issa Diop found Bowen, honestly. But, having Bowen get that assist, was great. I really thought Bowen was going to score the second goal, but it put me in a more comfortable position. Of course, I think, all right, here it is. We're going. This is our chance. Now, of course, we just need to wait and see how we can defend and prove ourselves. And then I think the third goal was
Bowen.
Third goal was Bowen, but then the fourth, we thought Diop got it, but he was offside, so that was unfortunate. I really would have been more comfortable with Diop having that goal, but that's okay.
So obviously we go in at half time, 2-0 up. What was your thoughts at half time, considering we've been leading in the last two games and we drew one and won one?
Yeah, I wasn't too confident, but I felt that we had gotten the momentum we needed to spring us forward into the second half, that maybe we worked the kinks out, and that was just our prior play. We've learned from the past several games that we've conceded our leads. I thought, here we go. We can take control of this game. And I will tell you, at the start of the second half, I was pretty disappointed. I thought we could have done things a lot better. There's still a lot that we need to improve on.
Yeah, I agree. Then Bowen steps up, 3-0 up. We're in dreamland, ain't we?
We were, yeah. And so I really felt like I said, excuse me, when we got the third goal, we were in a much better position. And then I thought Diop got the fourth, which, then he was offsides. And I thought, all right, well, 3-0, we're going to struggle a little bit here. So, and then shortly thereafter, I believe Cresswell got injured.
He did, but he got injured at a vital stage, and I'll get to it now. We're 3-0 up, we're cruising along, 70th minute, everything's going hunky-dory, and we're all loving life. And then Arthur Mazawaku gives the ball away, and they score. What was your thoughts on that?
So he seemed to be doing that a fair amount throughout the game, and our possession was not very good once we had the lead. Hey, Wally. It seems as though when we are in a position where we're winning the game, we continue to play this rush football where we are just passing it any which way to get it down the other end of the field. And we're not consistently finding feet. And if you look at our statistics of possession, I think we're still in that 30% range, and it needs to be higher if we're going to win these games. So it didn't surprise me that we gave up a goal. What surprised me is when we gave up the second.
Do you know what? You got a good point there in regards to the possession stats. We seem to rush it, and it seems like we ain't got our in-game management is terrible. It's like absolutely terrible. Like, I've never known a team to be 3-0 up and worried about drawing or losing the game. It's just not right. But we're 3-0 up. We're cruising along still. Then Wilfred and Didi decides to trip Jared Bowen in front of Mike Dean, knowing he's already been booked. How has he not been sent off?
Well, it's Mike Dean, I don't think that there's anything we can say about that. Not to focus on the referees because, I don't know that they truly make a big difference at the end of the day in major games. But, it's par for the course, truly, with Mike Dean. So he just needs to get his name out there a little bit more. And it didn't surprise me. Of course, everyone was upset, but it didn't surprise me.
Did surprise you. And then they scored the second, which was like unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And they scored in the 91st minute, and they got 6 minutes added on. What was you thinking in them last 5 minutes?
Cripes, how did they get 6 minutes added on? I was just like, that is the most time I've ever seen, I swear. And my heart just broke. I thought that, we really need to keep it together and just defend to the best of our ability and keep possession. That is all we needed to do. And, we were fortunate enough that we did do that. But I was definitely, my heart was beating out of my chest at that point.
I must admit, I was going through the mill and all. If I'm honest, I was literally fuming. I was fuming at the fact that we were so comfortable for 70 minutes, and then one mistake has literally just completely derailed us. But we get over the line, Katie. We get the 3 points, and it's a great win, isn't it?
Maybe not a great win, but a much win. It puts us, definitely secures us, like I said, up in that top 4, which, we have Chelsea snapping at our heels. So to get a little bit more of a cushion would make me more comfortable. And I think that we need to do that in the upcoming weeks. I don't know with this team. I still think that there's a fair amount we need to improve upon. We have the skill and the ability. No one can say we don't. We don't have the depth in the bench, but they need to start converting on these errors they're making in these games where we're ahead. Because when we get against these better teams in Europe, we're not going to stand a chance. So
that's true. And Wally puts it great here. The keeper come up at least twice for set pieces, very nervous times. It was a very nervous time. It really was. And it was, but I tell you what, I've seen this team enough to know when it's nervous. And we just don't make it easy for ourselves. And I don't understand why we blast these teams out, and then all of a sudden we just sort of just go from up there and drop like a stone. And the mentality has got to change on that. It has. But let's do some player ratings, Katie. I want your assessment of all our squad and our manager, and I will start
absolutely
with Fabianski in goal. Give him a rating.
10 out of 10. I love him. I think he did a phenomenal job. The goals couldn't stop them. I mean, there was nothing more he could have done. He came out when he needed to. He was aggressive. He also brings a little bit of maturity to the field. You can see he's very calm, even in these high pressure situations. So for me, I'd give him a 10 out of 10 this game.
Do you know what? I won't give him as much as a 10 out of 10, but I would say at least a 9, at least. Like, I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I really did. I really thought he'd done everything. Like when Pereira went through one-on-one, he gathered that ball away. Like you say, he couldn't do nothing with the goals. Yeah, he was top drawer yesterday, Fab. And that's one of the best performances I've seen him do for a good while. And, top drawer.
Yeah.
Let's come to your favourite man in the team, Kufal. Give him a rating.
I would give Sufal I would say a 7, 8. He did pretty decent, pretty steady. He gave us the assist, and he seemed to do pretty well. He put the ball in the right place and was where he needed to be and strong armed defensively. So I thought he did decent.
So what is it, Katie? Is it a 7 or is it an 8? Which one?
I'll give him a 7.
She's going to give him a 7. I'll give him an 8. Me personally, I thought that assist for that goal was good. I thought defending he was top drawer, and Wally puts it great here. Kafal needs to learn to finish when he goes through.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he needs to learn to finish. He needs to learn to find the striker, because I think he's got everything else in his game, but as a defender, I think he's top class, really do, and I think he's a sign of the season for me. Issa Diop.
All right. Well, I just don't love him defensively. I know everyone else does, and he did have a decent game. So I would give him a 6.
I would say, yeah, it's close to a 6 to a 7 for me and all. I would agree with you there. Don't forget, he did concede 2 goals, and
I know
you can't keep doing it. You know what I mean? So
he's
I
one
agree
step
with you there.
behind.
Yeah. Do you know what? You're not the first person who I've spoke to who said that. He seems like he's out of. It's like both of them are sort of a couple of seconds slower to the ball than everyone else. So yeah. Fair assessment, that is. So it's a 6 for you. Dawson.
I would give Dawson an 8. I thought he played pretty well, pretty solid. Didn't have any issues with him.
I agree. I thought Dawson was all right. I would probably give him a 7. They did concede 2 goals. Dawson. I'm just hoping he ain't running out of steam. That's all I'm going to say. Like, he's played every game since December, and I'm hoping he ain't running out of steam. And every game he's played 90 minutes. So, yeah, including cup games and all. So, yeah, it's a bit of these goals conceded is a bit of an issue, but I'd say a 7 myself. Aaron Cresswell.
Cresswell, I would give a 6. I didn't think he did too much this past game. The most memorable thing is his injury. Yeah, I didn't really remember seeing much from Cresswell.
The first 20 minutes, he was getting Leicester were targeting him straight away. Every time the ball was going over, it was going over onto his side. I think Leicester knew they couldn't go down Cafell's side because Cafell's the better defender. So they went down Cresswell's side and they was getting a bit more joy. I agree with you with a 6. I think that's fair. I think he's obviously come off injured. So yeah, I agree with you. A 6. Arthur Masuaku, mate. Give your assessment.
So Masuaku, he played well for coming back off of injury. I always expect more from him, but I would say he played probably about a 7, which is.
What do you think about Leicester's first goal? His involvement in that mistake for that. Souček puts the ball into him. He's got the ball to his feet. The Leicester player nicks it off his feet, gives the ball to Iniesta, and he scores. What did you think?
Yeah, a little bit of that is unfortunate, you know. I don't know that there's much that you can really do about that, but it's when you lose the ball tracking back that we don't do well on. And so I do think that he can improve on that.
I've been very critical of Masuaku, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a fan at all.
Me neither.
I'm going to give him a 5. The reason why I'm giving him a 5, and people have said, "Oh, why are you giving him a 5?" Because that goal was the start of the Leicester comeback, and that goal gives them confidence. Before that goal goes in, before that mistake, sorry, we are well in control of this game. Nothing's happening. We've got Leicester completely defensively sound. They're not getting through, and he makes a silly error, gives away a chance, and it goes from us being confident to us nearly giving away a 3-goal lead again. So for that, I'll give him a 5. I thought he'd done all right going forward, but that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to learn to defend and all. So yeah, midfield, Mr. Mark Noble. What's your assessment of Mark Noble?
I'd give Noble an 8. I thought he did well. He played pretty consistent, which was good for him. Yeah, no complaints there.
I actually give him 10 out of 10, mate. I thought he was brilliant. Yeah, I really did. And I'll tell you the reason why. I'll give him 10 out of 10 because he done exactly what we wanted him to do. He sat in front of that defence and he didn't move. He didn't go forward. He just stayed there, left, right. That was it. That sliding tackle to slide and stop Tielemans from the shot, that's a goal. If that's on target, that's going in. And that's 3-2 then, and that's game on for them. And he gets injured in the process of it. And I didn't really see him do anything wrong. Like with Mark, it's usually if you do something wrong, people will highlight it. But his passing was pretty okay. Made a couple of little dodgy passes, but other than that, he was just everywhere. And it was a captain's performance. And considering he's only played a handful of games all season, and he's playing against Tielemans and Ndidi in Leicester's midfield, then it's to me that's a top performance for me, and we got the win. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Souček.
I'd give Souček a 8 out of 10.
I'll give him a 7. I thought he done well. He done well. He had energy everywhere. Got the assist, so possibly a 7.5. But I don't do half, so I'm gonna have to stick with a 7. but yeah, I thought he was top draw. He done everything right. So yeah, 7 for me. Fornals.
Fornals, I would give 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
I thought Fornals played pretty well for himself. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Mark says hi.
Hi, Mark. Oh, now I see the chat. Hey, Kieran.
Fornals. First half, I thought he was very good. I thought he was good Fornals. Second half, he just went missing, in my opinion. He was running about, but didn't see much of him. So if I was rating him on half, so I'd give him a 7 in the first half, and I'll give him a 5 in the second half. So I've got to go in between and go a 6 myself. I thought a 6 is fair. A 6 is fair. Second half, he didn't really do nothing. Like, he ran about, but let's be honest, we was mainly defending in the second half, weren't we? So he should be, I'd say, a 6. So yeah.
I thought he was running out of gas, to be honest. I thought he looked tired.
Yeah, I think he's just coming back, but then that goes to the Moyes thing. That goes to the manager then. If he's seeing that and he's seeing he's not being an influence on the game, he should make a change and bring someone to freshen it up. But yeah, I agree with you, Katie, there. I do. He did look a bit tired. The main man now we're going to get to 2 strikers. And the first one is Jesse Lingard. What's your thoughts?
10 out of 10.
100%.
I mean, there's nothing I can critique him on. He was getting back and playing defense and, up there and scoring goals. And so there's nothing more we can ask for. The man's doing his job.
Yeah, I agree with you totally there. I even said it 10 out of 10 on a different.
And I think he's gotten faster. He's fast.
What he does is he's not like a rapid sprinter, but he picks up pace as he goes along. He starts off slow and he picks up. So he's a bit like an horse. He starts off slow and then he picks up towards the end and sprints to the finish. But I agree with you. 10 out of 10 for me and all. I think 2 goals, like a semi-assist for the Bowen goal. People said he ran out of steam towards the last 20 minutes of the game. But for me, the first 70 minutes, he was top class. And we have like a sort of a top class player on our hands at the minute, don't we, Katie?
Oh my gosh, it's a dream.
Let me ask you this, Katie. If we're in a bit of a situation now where the better he does, the better we do, but the better he does, the more his price tag goes up. So if he gets us into the Champions League and we don't have Lingard next season, how would you feel about that?
We better find another Lingard real fast.
No, she's not saying a word on it. She's not saying a word. But yeah, I agree. He needs to be signed, really, I'm afraid. But moving on to the next player and the man of the match, and he was top drawer again. Jared Bowen. What's your thoughts?
I give him a 9 out of 10. I know he's man of the match and everything, but I want more from him. I know that he can do more. I want him up top and finishing every little thing we give him there. So I know the type of player Bowen can be, and I know that he had a great match, but I just think that he needs to start creating his own opportunities and going for it. Yeah,
I agree. The Jared Bowen that I'm seeing is the Jared Bowen we signed from Hull. I followed Jared Bowen for quite a few years when he was at Hull, and no one would pick him up in the Premier League. They was like, don't know whether he can cut it in the Premier League. West Ham took the risk and said, you know what, we'll get him here. And I'll never forget it. When we were signing him, He looked like he was going to either Crystal Palace or Newcastle, and we managed to get him. And I was over the moon when we got him because there's a talent there. The last 3 games he's been very, very good. He scored in each game. The previous 12 before that, he was like the invisible man. So I'm hoping that this run carries on towards the end of the season. And he's starting to get his confidence back. And if we have, we've got a top player who knows where the goal is and who is technically, he might be a winger, but he's a natural striker. He played that position for Hull, and top class.
When we signed him from Hull, I was just so excited. My eyes just lit up, and I thought that he was going to be our answer. And that's fine that we found the answer in Jesse Lingard, but I know Bowen has it in him. And that's why I'm very excited for him to start to have his confidence back. And Bowen was my favorite player until Sufal came on, but he still has a piece in my heart. So as long as he can start to create his own opportunities, he's going to get that 10 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. Right. Obviously, it's hard to rate the subs because the subs were only on sort of the last 15 minutes, so it's literally no point. They was just doing a job just to hold the game. Rate the manager, Katie.
So I would give Moyes 7 out of 10. And the reason being is I thought that he had the right individuals out on the pitch at the start of the game, but consistently I am frustrated with his ability to substitute and manage the game. When we are up, he needs to pull them back and say, we need to possess the ball. We are not possessing the ball. We are giving it away. We are playing to their pace. We need to be confident and step back and play our game. And we are not doing that. And he needs to control that on the pitch. He needs to set the tone, whether it's pulling Noble over and saying, all right, you need to get everyone calm and give them that point of confidence. That needs to come from the manager, and it's not. And so I'm disappointed in that. And I'm disappointed that, when we're substituting, it's way too late. He should be giving, some of these other individuals playing time. Odubeko, I still think that we should be getting him out on the field and giving him a little bit of time at the end of games just to prepare ourselves for the future. But, he's the other thing is, too, why are we not learning from the past several games? And maybe that should lower down his rating from a 7 to a 6 because I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing the conversion, and it needs to start to occur.
Interesting. Slightly agree with you on some things, and definitely agree with you on others. I agree with you on the possession stats. It seems like we go 3-0 up, and we still want to attack like it's 0-0. I think Moyes, his hand was twisted when Cresswell got injured, so I think Mazuaku would have been subbed, and I think Ben Rama would have been on. Excuse me. I think he's as disappointed as we are when it comes to the last sort of 5-10 minutes of games. Like the last 10 minutes, he was absolutely fuming at the fact that we was very comfortable yesterday and we nearly done it again. The only thing I can say in his defence is he wasn't at fault for the goals. Arthur was for one, and the other one was basically the players just literally like getting bombarded in the box. But the only positive I can take out of it is that it's a win, and we got the win, and we scored more goals. So I agree with you on the possession thing, though, because our possession stats have been lowered recently. It seems like we go in a lead, and then we just seem to just go, you know what, we give you the ball, and we just play counter attack, and we can't do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But moving on, Katie, to our next game, which is Newcastle this Saturday, which is an early kickoff for you. I know that. It's about, 7:30, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7:30 in the morning. What's your quick thoughts on this game coming up?
I think we'll win it. I think that we're going to win 3-0. I have no doubts about it. I think that, we'll miss Antonio and Cresswell. I'm sure he won't be back. So, it'll be interesting to see how the team communicates with one another. I think that if we can get our goals early and maintain confidence, we should come out ahead. But I'm definitely thinking we're getting 3 points out of Newcastle. And if we don't, we need to be ashamed.
Well, I'm going to do a quick predictor for the last 7 games. I'm going to ask you all these teams. I want you to tell me if we win, lose, or draw, right? You've just said a 3-0 for Newcastle, so that's 3 points. How do you see the Chelsea game going, the next game?
Honestly, I hate to say this, but I think that we will lose against Chelsea.
Then we have Burnley away. Where do you see it? What do you see in that one?
Burnley, I think that we'll come out with a win.
So we're up to 6 points. Then we have Everton at home.
We'll come out ahead on Everton, but it's going to be a really tough game. They did not like losing to us last match, and I think it's always an emotional thing for Moyes, but we'll come ahead.
So we're up to 9 points. Then we've got 2 back-to-back away games in Brighton away and West Brom away. How do you see that?
I think that we'll come out with Brighton and West Brom. I think Brighton's going to be a little tougher, but West Brom, we should be no issues.
What do you predict in the Brighton game?
I think we'll be 2-1 against Brighton. Yeah.
And so what's that? You got 9. That's 15 points. And our final game is Southampton at home. What do you reckon on that?
Problems with no problems with Southampton. We come out with another 3 there.
So you're predicting 18 points for a possible 21. That I'll tell you what, if we get 18 points from a possible 21, do you know what I mean? We're going Champions League. Let me put it this way to you, Katie, before we wrap it up. If we go to Newcastle, because I do believe Newcastle's going to be a tough game next week. I know everyone would say it looks easy, but they're starting to hit form. They're getting their players back. They need it as much as we do for different reasons. If we go up to Newcastle and we draw the game, but we beat Chelsea, would you settle for that? Or would you rather us beat Newcastle and draw with Chelsea? Because I think Chelsea's the harder game, obviously. But if someone said to me right now, we have to take points off Chelsea, I'd rather take a point off them than lose, if that makes sense.
I agree with what you're saying. So even though I would love to come ahead against Chelsea, I'd rather take the point than take the loss. Yeah.
So if we go to Newcastle next week, that really defines where we're going to be in regards to the Chelsea game, isn't it? If we go up there and win, then Chelsea's like a free hit. If we go for it and we win that, then we're really in a good position. If we lose the game, we have like a sort of a comfort where to say, you know what, we might have lost, but we're still in the random, so to speak. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and we get Ogbonna back soon, so I think that would really help us, especially against Chelsea. So you're right, Newcastle will set the tone of what's going to come in the next several weeks. But I don't know, it is going to be tough. I think Chelsea's the toughest out of all of them. I think that we can stay focused against Newcastle, ride high on this win, and convert. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone got any questions in the comments below? We'll ask Katie anything before we wrap it up. But yeah, I do believe in what you're saying is true. I believe that these last 7 games, if we could hand pick these games, we would be really happy. We would have picked a good few of them teams, like your Burnleys, your Brightons, your West Broms. Them three would have definitely been in there, 100%. But what do you think, Katie? What's your feeling in regards to top four? Do you believe we will do it, or do you believe we might slip out?
I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous. I want us to be there so bad. There's a part of me that feels as though there's some games in the past that we've really let slip through our fingers. But the improvement that Moyes has made makes me feel like we deserve it. From last year, fighting relegation, to being in the top four would be a dream come true. I'll be disappointed if we don't come out in the top four, because I know that we are capable of it. 30, probably not. It depends. If we can get enough people, I'll be more than happy to go down. No, yeah. So my headband is actually a cover for COVID. So yeah.
There,
so when
I've got an armed robbery on Hammers Poles tonight.
You got a what?
I got an armed robber, a bank robber on Hammers Poles, balaclava.
Yeah. So yeah, if I could get a West Ham one, I would. That'd be great. I'm actually looking for a West Ham wine glass for my Thirsty Thursdays. I can't find a wine glass anywhere.
I might be able to hook you up. Don't you worry, Katie. Right. I've actually got a West Ham face mask somewhere. I don't know where it's gone, but yeah, I actually go around everywhere with that. You know what I mean? If we more comfortable. So yeah, Alfred puts it here. Yeah, if we would have won the games like Arsenal, Brighton, Palace, Fulham, we'd be so much more comfortable in the running. I agree, but I do believe the Arsenal one is a killer, considering we was 3-0 up.
Well, the biggest thing is whether or not we can learn from those mistakes. And I'm not seeing that right now. And so I would say in the next couple of weeks, if we can do that, if we can step up, we should be there. We should be in the top four. But if we do not, then that's what's going to hurt us.
I agree. I agree totally with you there. And you haven't given me your where you think we're going to finish. You said we're going to slip out. Where will we finish, Katie?
I don't want to say it because then it puts it out into the universe. So,
right, you got a choice. It's either third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh.
I don't think. I'll say this. I don't think we'll fall to 6th or 7th.
Do you know what though? Me personally, and I will openly put it out there, right? I believe we can do it. I believe the fixtures are in our favour. I believe by the time we get to West Brom, they're going to be relegated. I think Burnley and Brighton will be just seeing out the season. I think the next 2 games will define it. If we are if we can get through the next 2 games and pick up 4 points, or even 3 points, so to speak, it will be massive going into the last game. Obviously, Man City will win the league. Manchester United will finish 2nd. Leicester's running hard. Their last 4 games are Newcastle away, Newcastle at home, Man United away, Chelsea away, Tottenham at home. So I think they will slip out. I think if Chelsea will go through in the Champions League, so they have eyes on that. And I think Liverpool might be the team who could get in the top 4, because if they lose against Real Madrid in the Champions League, then all they've got is the top 4, and they need the top 4. Otherwise, Liverpool might slip out. But I just think with the fixtures that we have at our disposal, it's the most perfect time. Obviously, people are saying about injuries, but everyone who's come in, he seems to be doing a job at the minute. Everyone from like Ben Johnson to Balbuena to Masuaku to everyone, like they're all sort of chipping in and doing their bit. And if we can get a Bonner back for the Chelsea game, like I wouldn't have him back for the Newcastle game. The Chelsea one was where I would pinpoint it and say, get a Bonner back and get Declan Rice back as soon as, then we've got a great chance. So I've just seen a comment in the comments section there, and I'm going to ask you a question before we wrap it up. What game has been like your highlight game this season? Like, what game do you look back on this season and go, what an amazing game that was?
I don't know, because I have like the memory of a fly.
Right. I will give you a few selections.
Let me go back and look. I would say
I can't believe you haven't said it.
What would you say?
The Tottenham away game, the 3-3.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Yes, obviously. Especially, that would have been it. I wasn't even thinking about Tottenham's away game. I was thinking of like
I would say there's been
we beat Leicester 3-0 last time, and then to struggling against them this time, and that always just sticks in my brain because that was the first game I saw West Ham play in person. Was against Leicester, so that's always just in my mind. But yes, you're absolutely right. And Everton, whenever we go against Everton, that always seems to stick in my mind. So I love against Everton.
I'm going to say the Wolves home game was a very good performance, considering we hadn't won a game all season before we played Wolves at home. We'd lost the first couple of games, and I think we drew a game, if I remember rightly. We got to Wolves and we beat Wolves 4-0, and then the week later we played Leicester and we won 3-0. Obviously, the Tottenham game is an amazing comeback. The Arsenal game was a good game, but for all the wrong reasons. The last two games have been good.
When you say most memorable, Arsenal is by far the most memorable in my mind. Not only from a frustration standpoint, but from the excitement of us just ramping up and, seeing that version of us starting to play together cohesively. It was like, this is a dream.
But Mark's just put it there. Even the Lingard debut at Villa, that was a great one. But one of my favourites, where I think we could have scored 10 goals, is Crystal Palace away. I thought Crystal Palace away, if Antonio learnt how to put it in the back of the net instead of keep it in the post, we would have had about 7 at least. So it was that was one of the most memorable ones. But so on that note, we're going to wrap it up. And Katie, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
That's all right, mate. No worries. Give your plug where they can find you and
everyone. Yes, I am at Miss West Ham Philly on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I have Hometown Hammers on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 1 a.m. over in London. We'll have someone exciting on this Thursday, so make sure you get your beverages ready, and I will be excited to see everyone there. And James, I want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's been so much fun. It's crazy. You and I agree on a lot of different things, so either the show is really good or really terrible.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all love. It's all love. Trust me. I'm going to give you a choice now, Katie. You can either stay or I can let you go, because I've got someone in the background who's going to come on. And I don't know how I'm going to do this in 20 minutes, but Sully is in the background and I will bring him straight on. I've been trying to get hold of this man. I've been trying to get hold of this man all for the last 2 hours, and he arrives when I've got 20% battery. So, yeah.
He's also in school.
Yeah.
How you doing, Sonny? You right, mate?
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. I'm sorry I missed. I didn't realize the show had started, so I apologize for being 45 minutes late.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. Um, just give us your quick assessment of that game, Sully, yesterday. What did you think? I know it was a good win. Now, I know Lingard scored a couple of goals, but in one way, it's a great win. But in another way, it was like it's not convincing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of twofold in a sense. I think it's great to be able to have that kind of dominant performance moving forward against a team that is sitting in third, which also makes me not so as upset about the fact that we did give up 2 goals because, again, it is Leicester. They are third. They've been, one of the teams to beat for the past few years, and we got 6 points off them this season. Both games we shut down Vardy, especially this last one. He really didn't have too much of involvement in anything, so I thought that was a pretty big deal. It is a little frustrating at a sense because I feel like both of their goals could have been prevented. But at the same time, it's not as if this happened against, like Brighton or somebody. I feel like the past few games that we've given up or made a 3-0 lead tense by the end has been to pretty decent clubs. I don't think it's necessarily – it's frustrating and it makes it, a lot more tense than what it was. We're very unlucky not to get a fourth, with Diop being, just barely offsides. But at the same time, I mean, outside of those 2 goals that they got, they didn't really have too much involvement. We shut them down. We were asking all the questions, and I think there's more positives than negatives to take away from the game. But I just hope that we can keep up this performance, especially with like Newcastle. If we have a 3-0 lead and we give it up to Newcastle, then I think that'll be much more disappointing than giving up a 3-0 lead to Arsenal and well, technically just Arsenal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I agree with you. I do. I really do. You can't keep giving up leads all the time. Otherwise, as I spoke to Katie in this stream, like me and Katie discussed it, eventually we're going to get caught out and someone's going to score 3 and that 3 points could turn into 1 and that could be Champions League or Europa League. And let's be honest, a team that goes 3-0 up should be comfortable, and it seems like we panic as soon as we go 3-0 up.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think it's a little twofold, because I do think there is that unfortunate mentality that you have you have this lead, you kind of step off for a little bit, but it's nice at least the past 2 games to be able to close it out. I know obviously against Wolves, they were shooting at everything but the goal, it seems like. And Leicester, they were always going to get at least 1. I think it's a good club. They manage well, they run well. So I think it does say a lot to the fact that we've been able to close it out. But I think that's that next step that we have to take is just being able to just have that killer instinct and put those teams away, regardless of who it is. So it's nice that we're able to play at that level, but at the same time, it's a little disappointing to not be able to stay at that level throughout 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%. It is a bit of a concern, but I suppose it's not about the performance, it's about the win now. I think we're getting to the stage in the season where if we win every game 1-0, we're in the Champions League, and if we can't settle for a boring 1-0 wins for the rest of the season. But I'm going to quickly do this because I done it with Katie. I'm just going to ask you for your number rating, mate. I'm going to fire off the whole squad. Just give me a rating out of 10, please, mate. So Fabianski, mate, out of 10.
Just for this most recent game? I'll give him a 7. Like I said, I don't think all the goals are necessarily his fault, but at the same time, I guess he is the last line of defense. So I'll say a 7. Played well. I don't know if he had much to do outside of the end of the second half, honestly, but 7 out of 10 for me.
Kafel.
Yeah, Probably 8 out of 10. I think he played pretty well. I think my ratings for most players in this game will be pretty high, to be fair. Kufau, he, did his job. He kind of shut down that left flank. I know he had Vardy as a man to mark a majority of the game. And, like I said, he shut him down. So 8 or 9 out of 10, yeah.
Oh, he just went 8 or 9. But don't do halves here. It's either 8 or 9.
We'll do 8, yeah.
8 it is, man. 8 it is. Diop, mate.
That assist from Diop, or that long pass from Diop to Bowen is incredible, especially from a center back. That was great to see. Like I said, he almost got that goal. But I will say I think he was a little caught out at the second goal. Or maybe it could have been the first one. I apologize for not remembering which one, but I'll give him a 9 just because I think he definitely was much more involved in this game than games past.
Dawson.
Dawson, I'll 7. Because I think that second goal, he was kind of right there in front of it, to be able to block it or get it out. So yeah, I'll say 7. Yeah.
Cresswell.
Cresswell, I'll do 8 for him. I think, for the speed that they being Leicester going forward, I think he managed pretty well. It's unfortunate that he got hurt. Hopefully it's more preventative for why we not preventative, but hopefully it's very minor. I think if he's out, I think we'll miss his distribution, on set pieces. But if he is out, then, unfortunately the next person, not unfortunately, but the next person will have to just come in and play for him. So yeah, 7.
Mezawaku, mate. What do you think of his performance? This one's kind of hard to rate because I don't remember like too much of him. I think, him and Cresswell have a good partnership together. So I think, I'll give him the same as Cresswell, just in the sense of, they played really well together going down the wing. And granted, obviously, I know the game was a couple of days ago, but or just yesterday. But like I said, just kind of where my mind is right now, just like with other stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, he played well. I can't fault him for anything that happened, but I'll probably watch a replay and be like, oh, okay, so he did mess up or something. So Mark Noble.
Mark Noble's been playing pretty well the past couple games. I think him and Souček definitely have an agreement to where Souček is the one that goes forward and Mark Noble just kind of parks it, and stays more defensive. So I think that suits him well. So he's not losing his legs, getting up and down the pitch, playing I don't know why we ever played him as a 10. That will never make sense to me. But at the same time, I think where he is now is obviously much more comfortable for him. And I think with him being able to play with somebody who, can move around just like Rice is beneficial too. So he doesn't have that responsibility of being a box to box. He can just kind of park it, in the defensive half and save his energy for that. So I'll give him, I don't know, I guess I'll give him an 8. I feel like he wasn't, like, his name wasn't called out that much, but at the same time, it didn't need to be, like he did his job, and kind of the center of the park wasn't necessarily where Leicester got their goals. So, I guess he was definitely doing his job.
Souček.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8 too. Yeah, I mean, dude's all over the place. It's incredible to watch. For the longest time, we were looking for that box to box, midfielder that just had that never ending motor. Now we have a multiple, which is fantastic. But Souček, I don't think you can really ever say anything bad about him. I'm sure he enjoys seeing Dean again. Fornals, Fornals, yeah, I'll give him a 9. He has been really nice to see come back and play. It was great to see great to see his involvement on both ends of the field. I think if for whatever reason, if Noble needed to take a game off or anything like that, I would think that he could be somebody who could fill in that spot. But he's definitely, an energizer bunny for sure. I think him and that front line attack with him on there, there's no letdown. Happy to see the guy score finally. So I think, I'll give him a 9. Yeah.
Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, I think you can't give him anything but a 10. I feel like since he's been on the club, I feel like he's been the best player in the league, and I think it'd be pretty hard pressed to find anybody who's better than that. I know I said it last week on Lee's show, but if he had been here for the whole season, and honestly, even now, I think you're going to start hearing some Hammer of the Year conversations with him. I think it might be a little unfair for it not to go to like a Suchek or a Rice just because he hasn't been here all year, but he has definitely had such an impact from the second he started playing for us, that I think those conversations are would be very genuine and well-founded for him to be considered Hammer of the Year. Hopefully he stays. It's going to be tough to keep him, I think, but at the same time, he loves the club and he's performing out of his mind right now.
Jared Bowen, mate.
Yeah, I'll give Jared Bowen a 9. I think the past couple of games, he's been able to kind of find his footing, especially in that attacker role. I think I said it again last week that, I don't think there's going to be too much of a letdown from Antonio not being there and being replaced by Bowen because, for the most part, they're the same player. Antonio's a little bit more physical, but Bowen can shoot. And, Bowen has 2 goals in 2 games. So I think, I think he's been playing really exceptional as well.
Yeah, I agree, mate. He's done wonders, that boy. Recently, over the last 3 games, he's been top drawer.
Yeah.
And finally, the manager.
I think. Oh man, that one's tough. I'll give him an 8 because I can't fault him for the lineups that he's choosing because they're working. But you also can't discount the fact that we have not been able to hold a 3-0 lead. Giving up 1 goal is fine. I think obviously clean sheets are great, but in this league, it's hard to keep a clean sheet. So 1 goal is whatever, but he's done brilliantly with what he's been given. Like I said, no one's going to feel sorry for us for injuries. No one's going to feel sorry for us if we drop out of if we drop out of top 4. But I mean, he's been getting results with nothing essentially, and he's been able to put players in positions to have, some of their best years for the club and in their career. So I think, you can't fault him for that. But I do think there's got to be something to where he doesn't necessarily back off, there's no wrong in scoring 5 or 6 goals in a game, so I don't know if that's because we have a lot of defensive players on the pitch, that maybe we're not just going to get 4 or 5, 6 goals every game. But, if you have all those players, you shouldn't be giving up 2 goals either.
I agree, mate. I really do. I'm going to do this quick predictor that I've done with Katie, and I want your opinion on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I want is win, lose, or draw for the next 7. I'm gonna reel off the fixtures, and I want you to tell me what you think personally how it will go.
Okay.
Let's start off Newcastle next week. What do you reckon?
That's a win for sure.
All right, so 3
Newcastle's Newcastle's floating around with relegation. They're not in good form. They're I expect him to score at least 1 because, there's, what's his name? Deeney always gets 1 on us. So, or not Deeney. Yeah, it is Deeney. He plays with him, right?
Nah, Callum Wilson, you mean?
Wilson, yeah. Same. He's going to score. But other than that, I think, that should be a win for us.
Chelsea.
That'll be a draw. I think it'll be an entertaining draw, but I don't think – a win would be huge for us because it would separate us, but I don't know. I feel like that'll be one of those games to where we set up really defensively just because of their attack. And I think, 1-1, maybe 2-2 for that. With probably both of our goals coming from set pieces. Because, Chelsea will be a team that will be able to attempt to slow down Lingard. So we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, I think that's a draw.
Burnley away.
Man, I want to say that'll be a win because we've been getting the monkey off our back with a couple of away ties this season. With Villa, Wolves, we've gotten some wins there at places that we normally don't get. So Burnley for me would be one that we win, but it probably won't be pretty. So, but yeah, Burnley for sure was a W.
So we're up to 7 points at the minute. Everton at home.
That honestly just depends on which Everton team shows up, honestly. So I guess just to be safe, I'll say that would be a draw too, because the game that we played against them at the beginning of the year wasn't a bad game, but I do think that we got kind of lucky to win that. But I think it'll be more of the same for that. So I'll go draw for that one as well.
Right, so we're up to 8 points. We now have back-to-back games now. We've got Brighton away, and then we've got West Brom away. How do you see them away fixtures going?
Brighton away will be, I guess that game has draw win all over it, but I think that will be where we slip up, if I'm being fair. Just because Brighton seems to be that team that just figures this out. So I think that'll be a loss for us. And then West Brom should be a win because West Brom will they'll be fighting not to lose, because they're in that relegation battle. But I think with the players that we have, we'll be able to break them down to, probably squeak out 1-0 or like a really tight 2-0 kind of thing, maybe 2-1. Because Sam has been able to get some results lately. But, that Brighton game, I think, is for sure when we'll slip up.
So we're up to 11 points. And then our final game of the season is Southampton at home.
Yeah, Southampton at home, I feel like is a win as well. Southampton started off the year on a tear, but obviously with injuries and whatever else have you, they've kind of fallen off. Plus, it's a game at home. We'll probably be playing for something important at that time. And I think, I would hope that they have some kind of fan attendance for at least the last game of the season. Especially when it'll be. From what I've been reading, Britain has been opening up a little bit. So hopefully, at least for, the last game, to have somebody there. Hopefully we have Rice back. If Antonio's back, no need for him to start, but maybe, you get him some minutes going into the summer. But, yeah, I think that should be a game that we win for sure.
So we end up 14 points from the remaining last 7. If we get 14 points, Sully, I think that's Europa League football. I think we need possibly 18. I think we need to turn one of them draws, or the Brighton game has to be a win or a draw. Maybe we might have half a chance there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be nerve-wracking. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And
I've never looked at other scores more than I have this season. Even last year we had the threat of relegation. I don't think I've looked at other scores more than I have this year.
I think you need to make sure you got your doctor on standby on your mobile.
Yeah,
You're gonna
100%.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Sully. Thanks for coming on, mate, and I really appreciate it. Obviously,
absolutely.
I know I've just about got you in everything what I wanted to ask you, and managed to get you in like a fair crack of the whip. Give yourself a plug, mate, where they can find you on Twitter and everything.
Yeah, Twitter, Piracelli, right there in the little name underneath my chin. American Hammer TV. I'm normally on every Wednesday night with Lee. talking about the week prior and looking forward to the next season and, whatever else has happened in West Ham during the week. Just tell me where you can find me. Sometimes I'll be able to pop into other shows, like this one. But other than that, Wednesdays and on Twitter, best ways to find me.
That's good, mate. That's good. Katie, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, Selly's the man. He knows what he's talking about. So, I think there are some things that, I don't 100% agree with regards to, how things will pan out. I think Selly's definitely a little bit more hopeful, but, we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm anxious and excited. But,
That's right. That's right. Well, that's the end of viewing the sideline stateside. I've done 2 tonight, and I've managed to get 3 people on 2 shows, so it's been good. I want to thank Katie for coming on. She missed me by 4 minutes earlier, and I was just about to crash out, but she messaged me. I couldn't resist. And Sully come on, obviously, 15 minutes to go, and Sully come on and all. I want to thank both of you guys for coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure. You're always welcome here. Obviously, I'll give you a bit more heads up with whenever things are happening, and I'll work around your time for you. Do you know what I mean? I want to thank Justin for earlier. He's on View from the Sidelines Part 1. Check it out. And, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I want to thank both of you guys for coming on, and I will catch up again with you soon. Take care.
Sounds good. See you guys.